Well, welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson, and of course, as many of you know, on this show, we discuss so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and what we know as an aging population, which I'm part of. So we're very excited about today's guest, but before I introduce Paul, I want to let everybody know that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a professional senior placement and elder care management organization that has a national network of advisors to help in determining the right path for seniors in receiving proper care or supervision and the right place to live. So whether it's in-home care, assisted living, residential, or memory care, get the necessary advice from a senior care advisor in your area by calling Senior Care Authority at 888-809-1231 or go to seniorcareauthority.com. And I just want to thank everybody for all your support and getting the word out on the Aging Boomers. We really appreciate it. So many of you have gone on to iTunes and subscribed, or on iHeartRadio and subscribed, or Spreaker, or have gone directly to our website at agingboomers.com. And more of you now are downloading the free app on your iPhone or Android phone. And if you haven't done so, you could just go to your app store on your phone and type in Aging Boomers. It will come up, and boom, you'll get all the updates. And we are doing them twice a week, usually every Monday and Friday. So again, thanks for all your support. And I want to introduce today's guest, who was one of my first interviews when I started the radio show in Sonoma, California. And now that we've expanded on our podcast, I'm just thrilled to have Paul back. And Paul and Rhonda Harlan own Lift and Accessibility Solutions, providing quality products and professional installation services for those in need of either commercial or residential home modifications. They work closely with elderly and disabled clients to allow them to maintain a comfortable lifestyle in their home. Paul has been a licensed general contractor since 1980 with expertise in plumbing, electrical, mechanical equipment, cabinetry, and finished carpentry. And then starting about in the late 1990s, he's focused his background into ways of providing quality services to our growing aging population. Paul is also a certified aging in place specialist, better known as CAPS, to better understand the needs of their clients. So, Paul, it's been way too long, but thrilled to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us on the Aging Boomers.
Thanks for having me back again, Frank. It is my privilege to share some of my information to your listeners.
Great. You know, this when I interviewed you back when, it's been a few years back now at least, CAPS, I don't remember talking about CAPS, so tell us a little bit about that. That's Certified Aging in Place Specialist. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, CAPS is put out by the National Association, NASB, National, I'm missing the term, but let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's all right. You know what? It happens to all of us, and it will come back to you. I know that.
It will come back. But CAPS is a course that we go through that looks at all the different things that affect us as we age, and what are the preferred ways of dealing with a lot of those issues, things that we don't even think about, colors, surfaces, textures, and then obviously some of the more obvious as far as, elevations and support and things like that. But the thing I want to talk about in CAPS is a term that they coined called visitability. And what they're asking as we look at buildings moving forward, they're asking, even our building departments to take this on, which at the moment they're not. But they're asking if a person of any ability can enter your home, navigate through the main level of the home and comfortably use a bathroom in the home. Sadly, only about 5% of our homes meet this standard today, and this is going to be a bigger and bigger problem as we're all aging, not only for ourselves in our homes, but even having our friends who may have different issues as well, being able to come into our home and enjoy sharing, a game or a coffee or things that we do now.
So what about, and not that it helps the situation, but are homes grandfathered in a sense? Are you talking all new homes moving forward?
Well, CAPS is promoting this concept to the building community, but nobody's being obligated to do that. We're still building homes based on what's the cheapest way to do it. And if that means there's a 6-inch step to get into the house, the contractors, the builders are all still looking at the bottom line. But ultimately, those expenses do come back to the homeowners who are aging and may need to make those modifications for themselves or for their friends and family. So it's not required. It's just a concept that makes a lot of sense that hopefully we will adopt a little more as we move forward. But it's something I'm looking at just as for my own home and for my clients' homes. It just gives me a different place to hang the thoughts on of what does it mean to have visitability, that a person of any ability, any friend that I might have could enter my home, enjoy sharing some time with me and feel comfortable and be able to use a bathroom while they're at my home. Yeah, it's just something that becomes important, and it's a way of setting the stage for some of what we need to think about as we age.
Yeah, I could see in the future or in the near future that people call up and they talking to a friend and they're going to come by and they have to ask that question, because otherwise it may not work. So give us some examples, if you can, of visitability. Okay, what you're saying CAPS is calling it. So what are some examples of that?
Well, one of the biggest barriers, most of our homes, even single-story homes, do not allow for roll-in access or walking access that doesn't require stepping up steps. So if a person does not have that ability to go up a step, they can't enter into my home. And so, number one, we're looking at that idea of saying, can we set up the home? And we can do that, so many ways. We could change the way we just even deal with the landscaping, the way we deal with a walkway coming up to the home to bring it up a little more level. But we don't. We bring it right in at grade level, and then we put 1 or 2 steps to step up into the home. And that becomes a barrier just for a friend who's, broken a leg on crutches, or somebody that's running around in a scooter because they're have walking issues, but they're not able to enter our home unless we have that ability to roll in. So I think number one is that, and then the others is being able to use a bathroom within the home. So often our bathroom doors, we make them narrower than our bedroom doors, narrower than our front door, and we make it difficult for people to be able to, with any kind of mobility challenges, to be able to use the bathroom. And those are just some things that we should be thinking about.
Yeah. So many families, got together, over the holidays, and which we just kind of finished up or finishing up. So, as you know, and, I'm in the business, and it seems like right after the first of the year seems to be a time that a lot of people call and say, wait, mom needs more help or dad needs more help or whatever the case may be. And, with more families spread out across the country, not living and seeing each other on a daily basis, they might be going to visit mom or dad, and they go, wow, I didn't realize mom needed this much help, or dad, was this way. It didn't, he sounded good over the phone. And they feel that they need to do something in the home to make it, more accessible for them. So when a family is confronted with this and they realize something has to be done, what are the steps you recommend they take when they're confronted with this type of situation?
Well, it's the same regardless of how a family communicates, in the sense that you have to start a dialogue. You need to be able to share your concerns with your loved one and see how they're seeing things. Find out what their goals or objectives are. I mean, you're concerned about them in their home, but maybe they're thinking about, they're getting close to moving into a retirement facility. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they really want to stay in this home till they leave this earth. So what their goals are is one thing you want to know. Sharing what you're seeing is the other side of what you want to know. You want them to know what you're seeing, what your concerns are. But it's really to see at this juncture of life what you can do to help them reach their goals. So if they have a particular agenda, how do you help them achieve that agenda? You only want safety, and you only want them to enjoy life. So those are the things that you're trying to do, and the best way to do that is to know what it is their goals are.
Yeah. I know that, and the business that I'm in, and helping people find places, to live and get proper care. And, the challenge with a lot of the businesses in our industry, like yourself, a lot of people don't even realize we exist. It's like you have a certain specialization, all right? So, a lot of people, they may not know that a company like yours even exists, so they may just say, well, we need to find a handyman to put up some things. But maybe grab bars or whatever the case may be. So are they taking some risks just dealing with anybody, or what are your thoughts there?
Well, my experience tells me that someone who has done it before has a much better sense of what are the options out there, what technology is out there that might assist this specific person and their specific needs. Where is the right place to put a grab bar? I mean, for example, a handyman is going to go put it where he thinks it should go. And I get clients all the time that ask my staff and me when I used to be doing it, just put it where they normally go. And I said, there isn't a normal. Normal is what's best for you, your height, your strengths. Which arm is dominant? Do you like to pull up or push up? There's a lot of things that just go into having good communication, and then even choosing the right grab bar. Grab bars that are small in diameter and smooth versus there's a grab bar out there that's 1.5 inches. I find that one almost to be too big. 1.25 inch knurl bar seems to be the most universal, that are just easy. Grab bars are even misnamed. Grab bars are about touch. They're about where you can reach and touch, because if your hand is touching something, your brain has the ability to find balance much easier and creates much more stability. So we're putting grab bars in order just to assist our brain and keeping us upright.
Got it. So provide us with some of the more common modifications you do, and maybe also talk about, what are we talking about from a time standpoint to do these types of modifications in the home? Well, I mean,
we started out there. Number one typically is grab bars and handrails. There's also something called a super pole, which is essentially a grab bar that we put out in space. In the middle of a room, we can actually create something that you can touch to assist in balance or help you get out of bed or get out of your favorite chair. So we certainly start there, and those can happen. Those are a matter of hours. They happen fairly quickly, not something we have to worry about. If we are using, to the point where walkers, wheelchairs, scooters, we're looking at something, either a threshold ramp. That's just because maybe there's only a 2-inch bump, getting into our house, or over a sliding glass door, things like that, but that they become barriers that the cane can get caught on. And if the cane gets caught, and then all of a sudden now we're out of balance where we expected it to be, and we're falling. And that's the biggest thing we're trying to avoid, is how do we not fall? Because that's the most dangerous as we age. Again, threshold ramps, quick portable ramps. If we need a actually custom ramp, usually for us, they're usually 1 to 2 days. It's not a big project. It's just getting the timing to make it happen. Mm-hmm. The next step up, do we have stairs? I mean, are we looking to get upstairs to get into the home, or do we have a second story that we're trying to get up to? Stair lifts, again, if the dealer has them in stock, we're talking 1 day. They go in fairly quickly. It's just having them to have them in stock and have the time in the schedule to make it happen. Now, if you have a custom stair, and that means anything that's not a straight stair, you go up, you have a landing, you turn right or left, you have irregular stairs, so they're pie-shaped or, interesting that way. Things that you enjoyed that gave your home character when you purchased it. But that stair lift now, the stair lift itself will install in 1 day, but it's a custom-made stair lift that's going to take the manufacturer somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks to get to you. So those are things that kind of can take a little longer. We can look at platform lifts or personal elevators, again, just depending on people's mobility.
So personal elevators, that's interesting. Is that more common? A lot of people might think that is just, from a price standpoint, just going to be too much. Can they be reasonable, I guess?
The old days, we used to look at a residential elevator as starting at $50,000 to $75,000. Right. And that is a number that kind of blows most people out of the water. The other thing is that elevator took out 4.5 feet of space out of that room. And if I stood in most rooms and said, okay, I'm going to wall this off and create an elevator shaft right here, most people, go, it just destroys the feel of the room. The personal elevators that have come into the market in Europe and are now being brought into the U.S. don't take out that space. They don't have a shaft. They just have the ability, when they drop back through the floor, you can actually walk out and use that space. You can see the pictures on the wall and the art or whatever is going on in the room when the elevator's not there. They also go in for less than $25,000. So it's a way of getting between floors, bringing walkers and wheelchairs and groceries and whatever we want. So we have a lot more option as to where they'll fit, and a lot more effective pricing that makes it fit into people's budgets to look at a personal elevator if that's something that's going to help them as they age. They don't take a long time, but that's going to take 2 or 3 days to install, but probably 2 or 3 weeks to plan for to make that happen. And those are just some of the things that we're suggesting, is that we be thinking ahead and then looking at the cost against how long we think we'll get to use those things, like we do anything in life, and make the best decisions for where we're living as we age.
I got to believe it would increase the value of a home as well. Not that that's a purpose for doing it, but I would think so.
Most homes will sell quicker, and you'll at least recover the cost that you put in. You may not make money on it, but you'll usually recover that cost that you invested in it, because it makes the home even more attractive, even for a young family, because grandma's in that wheelchair, but we like to have her over for Christmas dinner, and she has that ability to get in and out of the home. Not to mention that it makes it a whole lot easier getting groceries in and out of a home if you've got to get up a floor or something to get to that kitchen. So even as the 30 and 40-year-olds can appreciate some of that.
Right. So let me give you a scenario. Is this pretty common where maybe an adult child or the children call you up and say, "Hey, Paul, thanks for coming out, and we really want to do something, but we're having trouble convincing mom or dad that we need to do this in their house. Would you mind talking to them? Maybe they'll believe you more than they'll believe us. Do they ever do anything like that? And how do you handle those situations?
Well, I hear the comment of, Mom will never let us do that. And it is, when I'm dealing with clients, the only thing I can say is you have to listen to your parents, explain to them their options, and respect their decision. They're the ones who are going to have to live with the consequences of the decision. All I can do is educate my clients as to their options, but the final choice has to be theirs. Now, one thing I do share with children is that there's basically three different things that I see as ways of objection from our elderly. And first off, one common one is they see needing to make changes as a sign that they're getting weaker or failing, and nobody wants to admit that, okay, I can't do that anymore. What we need to do is help them see that technologies help them to live this long, living longer than their parents did, and that technology can also add to the quality of life. If we've got a stair lift getting you down the stairs so that you can get down on the floor with your granddaughter and play, in her, tea party or her dollhouse, instead of using up that those knees walking down the stairs, that can be a good thing. And we just got to get a different mindset to that one. The aging population also came through the Depression era, so they can't see the value of spending money on their home or on themselves. They're far more worried about what they're leaving behind for their heirs. And so one of the things as heirs is letting them know that the quality of their life is far more important, that their company is what's important, and that they're healthy enough to enjoy that company. Might be a mindset that they have to help them change a little bit, because often a stair lift costs more than their first car did, and they can't relate to that. And then the last is that they don't have enough money, or they don't believe that their funds will last long enough, last as long as they think they're going to live. And there is some concern there, but often then their pride gets in the way. They don't want to take charity. And yet family members are more than willing to step in and help. Even community, what may be strangers, will often step in and offer that help if we're just willing to ask for it. So it's just kind of helping them change their mindset, but ultimately we have to respect their decision in how they want to live out their life.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. So, I certainly want you to tell those that are listening in how they can get a hold of you. Maybe mention the company name again and how they can get a hold of you. But also, I'd like you to maybe share with people the steps maybe to take if they're in other parts of the country. I know both of us are here in Northern California, and that's where you do, I think, probably the majority of your business. But if they're in other parts of the country, what steps do you recommend that they take as well?
All right. Well, our company is called Lift and Accessibility Solutions. It is a long name, but it is descriptive of what we do. And Lift and Accessibility Solutions, spelling out the and.com, is our website. You're more than welcome to get there and just take a look at the different things we do. Our contact information would be there. If you're not in the area, or if you're trying to find a contractor, Googling accessibility contractor or elevator contractor in your area and seeing what comes up for other people's websites, looking for whether they're CAP certified, asking certainly if they have experience in the work that you're trying to do. You need to be able to ask them for references for the work that you think you need to have done, and be able to talk to at least 2 or 3 people that have had that work done and ask about their experience working with this contractor. There's no substitute for experience in this work. I can be a great contractor, but before I knew what to look for in a stair lift or what was a good or good or bad grab bar. I wasn't necessarily the best person, but years of experience have taught me the answers to those questions, and I try to share those with as many contractors as I have opportunity to do that with. If you have a favorite contractor that you want to use who's always worked for the family, ask him to talk to a specialist and get recommendations for the products or the tips for installation. As contractors, we love to talk to each other. We love to share the information we have, and it makes the work experience better for them, and it'll make the quality of the work that you get better for you. So those are just things to look at in that process. There's
great.
One thing we haven't said, Frank, and,
sure,
and
go ahead.
That one point I want to make as we think about this and as we talk about this, because when we ask family member even to consider what changes we should make, we often are very optimistic about how we're doing and how life's going, and we make decisions based on our best day, how we living, 25 days out of 30. But one of the questions that we need to look at when we talk about modifying our home or making accessibility is to answer the question on how we might be doing on our worst day. A day when we have the flu and a family member or neighbor's trying to get us to the doctors. Or we've had a medical need that took us to the hospital, and all we want to do is get back into our home. And what's that going to look like? If we can answer the questions of being prepared from that perspective, we're just going to be much more prepared for the curveballs that life's going to send us. So it is a mind twist of saying, I'm not saying that I can't do this most days, but on the days that I can't, what would be the most helpful so that I can stay in this home that I love?
And hopefully, I think our generation, boomer generation, might be more willing to get that type of assistance or ask for it versus maybe the silent generation that we've been talking about. Like you said, they don't want to spend the money or anything. So hopefully things will change from that perspective, because it will be better for everybody. And so, Paul, thank you so much for being on the show. You're a wealth of information. We got to have you back sooner. All right.
All right. Well, I'm. You and I just have to get it on the calendar because we're both busy. I know,
yeah.
But I do love talking about. I do love helping people think about the quality of their life and to just enjoy the life that they have.
Okay, and I know your website. You could also the short version is JSLifts.com. That's JSLIFTS.com.
Correct. That'll redirect you right to the big long name. It's a lot easier to spell out on that Google bar.
Great. Well, Paul, thank you, Paul Harlan. Thanks so much for joining us. Give my best to Rhonda, and I want to thank you all for joining us on the Aging Boomers. And please, download the free app, get onto iTunes or iHeartRadio, and most importantly, be safe out there. And we'll talk to you all soon.